You know, as an upper middle class businessman, such I'm pretending to be myself, I like to pretend I like to steal taxpayer dollars every single month. But you know, I need a sports car in which I will only use once a month. I'm looking for something that's front engine, rear-wheel drive, with something like standard like 500 horsepower, relatively cheap, and has great American history. I'm going to show you the type of car I would buy. This is what I have. The 2019 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. Unfortunately, we couldn't afford the ZR1 or the new 2025 C8. It is what it is, but this is still very interesting. It has one prehistoric feature. It has a 7-speed manual transmission, something that Canadians seem to be very afraid of. At the time, this came in 4 trims. It was the Stingray, the Grand Sport, which is just the souped-up Stingray, the Z06, which had a supercharger and had 650 horsepower, and finally the top trim, the ZR1, which had 755 horsepower. This one here is a little more basic, with only 455 horsepower, with a 6.2-liter V8, 0 to 60 in about 3.9 seconds. GM wanted this C7 to be taken a little more seriously than those older C5s or C6s. Yes, they were beautiful vehicles, but shitty cars. They wanted to be looked upon more like a Porsche. The inspiration was fighter jet and Formula One car, designed to look fast while standing still. They didn't want people saying old man's car, just a muscle car, great for the money. They wanted people saying it's great, period. But anyway, this is getting boring. Let's hit the road. Now I see why they don't drive this prehistoric transmission downtown. Silly me for bringing a $70,000 car where some crackhead might shit on. While I'm here, I can discuss the part I like the least about this car, the interior. It has one of the most useless features I've seen in a car, this screen. Cheeseburger. And the infotainment isn't great either. It's super confusing to navigate, and it doesn't even have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, something that was kind of standard in 2019. The interior feels like a more refined version of the C6, which is already pretty shit because it has no glove compartment. It has a bunch of useless stuff on the steering wheel. At least it feels really nice. One thing I find really funny about this car is the navigation, because if you don't pay for it, you just get a compass. That's actually so goofy. Now this Corvette drives a lot better than a C6, but the clutch is very interesting. It's super stiff. There is a small learning curve when getting into the car. I've never fully understood why people don't drive manual or standard cars nowadays. I truly believe that it makes you a more attentive and aware driver. Clearly not me, because I'm still driving like shit. It gets you more in tune with the car that you're driving. And if you're gonna drive on the roads, you should know the basic mechanical things on your car. Oh, we're about to leave the city now? But before I do that, I'm gonna quickly stop off real quick. Now, before we go to the north and test out the car, I'm gonna take off the roof. Before that, the front tires have 18-inch alloy wheels, while the rears have 19-inch, with really low rope profile tires. It also has these Brembo 4-piston caliper brakes. To take off the roof of the car, you want to get into the vehicle, take down these sun visors, unlatch these latches, come back here, unhook this, bring that back. If you don't want to leave this hanging around, you're going to want to open the trunk. Actually, we're gonna leave it like that. Maestro, come here. Come here, lift this with me. Oh. There we go. Just wanna open this up. The roof fits into these latches placed in the trunk. And if you see these little balls here, they fit into the slots right here, just like your girlfriend's mouth. You know, with this car and a bunch of other American cars, they like to give the consumer a bunch of bitch-ass warning, like going 1 over the speed limit. You know, trying to change gear to save on fuel. But I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in saving fuel in this car. I will be going 100 in second gear. Speaking of RPMs, this car does have hill start assist and rev matching. But, you know, rev matching is for people who don't know how to drive a manual transmission properly. However, it is still super good and smooth. Well, speaking of the track, this car does have a few different modes on it. It has wet, eco, sport, and touring, which, you know, most people who buy this car like a businessman will use. Sport and track stiffen up the suspension and kind of boost the performance, which, you know, just makes the ride worse. However, there is different modes on the infotainment system here that actually can make the car louder if you want it. And for the more astute car enjoyer, there on the dashboard there's car temps, oil temps, and battery wattage. I don't know if you've heard me saying that this was inspired of a Formula One car, but it has a lot of the telemetries that you would see on a Formula One car on the dash. It has, like, you know, how much horsepower you're using. It even has the G-forces that you're putting on your neck. That's actually super cool. The best way to describe this Corvette is that it's definitely an end of an era. I'm not speaking no bullshit. I would definitely say that the new C8 compared to this C7 definitely abandoned a lot of its roots. The new C8 went all Euro about it. You know, when you put the engine in the back behind the driver, it's just not the same. I'm gonna give you an example. That new C8 uses an auto-tuned exhaust sound, but this C7, I'm a natural. This Vette has a lot of quirks. This one abandoned the round tail lamps like it's been using for many years and decided to go with these Camaro-like edgy tail lamps, which honestly I like, but at the time was very controversial. And since this is a Stingray and not a Z06 or Grand Sport, it comes factory packed with these bitch-ass air vents, which are obviously functional on the higher trim. Now you might be asking me, with all those cars' quirks, why would you buy this over a Porsche or a C8? Well, mostly because you're broke, but if you could buy a Porsche, you would buy a Porsche. The reason why you'd buy this is because it's more analog than that. It's not as refined as a German car. You're along for the ride with a Porsche, but with the Corvette, you command and lead it. The price of this Stingray at the time in Canada was $75,000, which is pretty good value for money considering how much car you get. And the reason why people like me like this Corvette is because it's the last front-engine Corvette to be made. It's unfortunate that they've been doing something for 66 years and decided to abandon it for something Italian, and perhaps in the future going towards electricity. You know, I've never driven any of the new Porsches, and I'm sure if I did, I'd probably prefer that over to this. But I don't know, something about this Corvette is a little bit special, and something about it makes it super fun to drive.